Hey everybody, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. How's it going tonight or today, whenever you're listening to this? So I thought in honor of really trying to keep our vibrations high and keep our light as bright as possible at this time in where we're at just politically and how, some stuff that's going on around the world. This is something that we're really trying to do, right? So keep things as positive as possible, to keep things as spiritual as possible, if that works for you, so that we can stay in a lighter, higher vibration, okay? And so one of the ways to do that is to understand some of the stuff that we are coming up, like understand some of the spiritual aspects of even just our general calendar, like things that are going on. And so I thought the winter solstice, because it's something that I have never focused on. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. Let's take a look at the winter solstice and how can we look at that from a spiritual perspective, which it is, and just give it a few 30 minutes of our time. You know what I mean? And see if that just helps us at this time, especially what's going on in 2024 in December, and see if that just helps us keep our light bright during this time. Not to mention, the holidays are coming up. So today I'm filming this on the 20th. The solstice is on December 21st. So this is December 20th. And going into the holidays for some people is really fun. For some people, it's really enjoyable. They look forward to it. And then there's other people that it's harder for, okay? And you might have a mix, actually. I always looked forward to it, and then I also had a hard time with some things. So I'm drinking coffee right now because it's a little late, but I needed a little pick-me-up. So I thought this mug was appropriate. So I just thought, in honor of that as well, is that if Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever celebration you are honoring or celebrating at this time, if it is not usually a time of happiness for you, then maybe the focus can be on something like the winter solstice. Maybe that's where your celebration can be. And so maybe that could be a good place to shine your light on this year anyways. Okay. So I have a very brief introduction to the winter solstice that I just read, and I'm reading it on the website called theseasonalsoul.com, theseasonalsoul.com. And so they just describe the winter solstice really briefly in a very nice way. And I thought we could talk about that. And then I have 14 questions that I've asked the Spirit Circle if they had questions about the winter solstice. And so they have provided me with 14 of their questions. Whoa, I did that. It just swung out of my hand. And so I'm going to ask my spirit guides for the answers to those questions. And then if you on the public channel have additional questions, we could capture those tonight and tomorrow. And then tomorrow night on the 21st, I could answer any additional questions if you have them. If you don't, then that's great. Maybe this was enough. So, all right. So let's just look real quickly at what the winter solstice is. Like, what does it really mean? And so what it says again on the seasonalsoul.com is that the 2024 winter solstice arrives in the northern hemisphere on December 21st. Okay. It is the shortest day of the year. So that's really what I've always understood it as. It's the shortest day of the year and a very powerful time on the wheel of the year. Now, I'm not sure what the wheel of the year is, and I'm not going to dive into that, but I think they probably do on the seasonalsoul.com go into what the wheel of the year is. So if I do anything from borrowing their web, their information here is to send people there if you want to check it out. Okay, so wheel of the year. Here's a closer look at what we're honoring on the meaningful seasonal day and how its energy influences you on a deeper level. Okay, so we're looking at that energy that is influencing us on a deeper level. Okay, and just a reminder, it is the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so the significance of winter solstice and what we are honoring, the birth of the sun. Okay, so just take that in for a minute, like the birth of the sun. I just love that. Winter solstice is the moment the sun is born again. Ever since last year's winter solstice on December 21st, the sun has grown from birth to its height at the summer solstice, which in the northern hemisphere is June 21st. So it's 6 months. Then ever since June 21st, it declines through autumn until its light finally died on the darkest night, which is the 21st. When simultaneously, this is the cool part, I think, when simultaneously it is born again, a new cycle of life for the sun begins. Okay. And so we're going to just kind of think of ourselves as well in this whole process. So a new cycle of life for the sun begins. At the winter solstice, we honor the magnificence of the sun, that on the darkest night, it is born again, bringing a new year of life and growth with it. I just love that. I just think that's awesome. I mean, when have you ever really thought for a minute or spent any amount of time, and now you're going to maybe spend 30 minutes, which is amazing, on just thinking about the magnificence of the sun, you know? And that on its darkest night, which is going to be tomorrow, it depends on when you're listening to this, you might decide to listen to the winter solstice, I don't know, in February, and that's okay. You know, I'm not sure how far this video will go, but that's okay. I just it's about where we are right now. So that on the darkest night, it is born again, bringing in, okay, so we're doing that same cycling, bringing a new year of life and growth with it. The return of the light. What a miracle that on the shortest day, when it feels like we could just descend completely into darkness, the light returns with the birth of the sun. For 6 months, the days have been getting shorter as the darkness grew. But on the winter solstice, there's just something about that term, winter solstice, the light returns. From here, the days will continue to grow longer, brighter, warmer, until the sun is strong enough to return life to everything in nature. At the winter solstice, we recognize this tiny new light. We commemorate the hope it brings, knowing it will continue to grow and deliver us from the cold, dark days. We celebrate the potential this tiny light holds. Anything is possible in the coming months. What new life will this tiny light grow? So what new life will this tiny light grow in you? Okay? And that's what I want you to be thinking about. All right, one more little paragraph. The beginning of a new year. With the birth of the sun, a new year begins. It's the beginning of a new cycle of birth, growth, death in nature. A whole new year of life, experiences, and transformation. It's a new chapter, which makes this a really hopeful and exciting time. Anything is possible in the year that lies ahead. Anything can grow in your life. It's time of pure potential. And what a gift that we have this new beginning every year. This chance to go deep inside and emerge as a new version of ourselves. What growth and transformation will the year ahead bring? Okay? So I just love that. So that's a little introduction to why I feel like bringing the idea of the winter solstice as a conversation to this community. And so, this is a good time to start. I know people are getting prepared for the holidays and doing, this and that. But this is also a time to relax and try to center ourselves and stay as grounded as possible, because of the holidays can get a little, but because we're going into the darkest day of the year and this is a time of renewal, we want to be thinking of those things as well. Okay. And kind of feeling it instead of the rush all the time that goes on during the holidays. Okay. So I'm going to push you back and so you can see the SGs. And we will get started. Okay, so we've got the 14 questions here. And again, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments. And if you're interested in joining the Spirit Circle, come on over. There's a link in the description. And I am hosting a New Year's event. It's a reflection kind of thing. So we're going to be talking to the SGs and doing some cards, some angel cards. So it's going to be amazing. So come on over if you're interested. Okay. And that's going to be in the Spirit Circle. All right. So I'm going to say my prayer. So I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides and guardians, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect this channel so it's only of the light. Amen. All right. Question number 1. Is the winter solstice a sacred portal? Yes. Okay. Number 2. Does the Earth's frequency change during the winter solstice? Okay. Yes. Some of these I don't even really know how to expand on. So because sometimes people ask questions, they have more of an understanding of something than I do. And so if there's a follow-up to that, please be sure to let me know. Click. I do coffee. If you're new here, I do coffee with Karen every morning, and we do a little click to each other when people are joining me for coffee. Number 3, is the winter solstice significant to unearthly beings? Oh, really wide. Really wide. Interesting. Okay, so yes, the answer is yes. And unearthly beings, I'm assuming we're talking about, well, yeah, okay, non-human beings. Okay. They're like, yes. See, I told you I need a little coffee. All right, number 4. Is there a significance of the winter solstice for spirit guides? Yes. Okay, is the significance the same as it is for us, like a rebirth, a rebirth, new beginnings, that sort of thing? And is it significant because you're working with us with the renewal, rebirth type of thing? Okay, so yes and yes. Number 5, should setting intentions on the solstice be different than the intentions we set at any other time of year? Okay, so no. So there's no kind of, no strict guidelines, basically. No. Good questions. Number 6, should we be praying to Archangel Gabriel during the winter solstice to help us gain insight and bring more light to our own circumstances? Oh, yes. So Archangel Gabriel. Are there any other archangels that we should be praying to during this time? No. So Archangel Gabriel is the most significant of the archangels for the winter solstice? Oh, yes. Good question. Okay, that's really helpful for me. I did not know that. Number 7, would praying to Archangel Gabriel during the winter solstice realign our energy from anxiety and depression into calmness for this new cycle? Yes. And so asking for that specifically, a realignment. is wonderful. And especially, I mean, maybe you're not, well, I think if there's anybody who's upset about what's going on in the world today, and there's a lot of people who aren't, so that's the thing, So, because they're not at a place yet where we are. But once they are, or regardless, if that's a place you're in, also praying for the world, right? In the same circumstance. And I think we do have that question we'll ask. So coming out of the anxiety about what's going on outside of yourself, especially, the stuff we don't have control over right now. And we're just kind of waiting to see if something miraculous is going to happen. All right. So number 8, do those people born during the winter solstice have special characteristics for shining more light to the world than people born at other times of the year? Oh, did you hear that, Marsh? The answer is yes, because we have we just had 2 birthdays of the generation below us. So 2 of my nephews just had birthdays. Well. Is there anybody? I'm trying to think if there's anybody else in my family. Okay, so let me just read that again. So are people who are born during the winter solstice have special characteristics for shining more light to the world than people? They're already saying yes. So people born at other times of the year. So they just there's something significant about the spirits who choose to be born in December, or let's just say around the winter solstice. Okay. Is it specifically, because I guess I don't know enough about this, you guys. I'm talking to you, my audience. I thought the winter solstice is like the day, I guess I don't really know how to say this, but the winter solstice starts, I guess, on December 21st, or is it like a few days before, a few days after, or whatever? I don't know. I don't know the amount of days. Okay, they're saying yes, so I think I just asked like 4 questions. Okay, so let's see. Number 9, will moving out of darkness and into light be reflected in our country's government, in the U.S. government, in 2025? Yes. So they're not swinging hugely. Let me make sure I'm asking that. So I'm trying to think, I just went blank there for a second. I was trying to think, is it going to be automatic? Okay, let me ask it this way. Is the rebirth and renewal from the 2024 winter solstice, will it include a rebirth and renewal of the United States government in 2025? So yes. So it's just another way of asking, is Kamala Harris gonna, right? It's just another way of asking that. So, but I mean, maybe and maybe not. It's like, is this year's winter solstice going to shine its light brighter on the darkness? Maybe that's another way to say that. So so now they're really swinging yes. Okay. All right. I know you want me to ask, but I'm really trying to get us to focus on ourselves instead of things we don't have control over. But they pretty much just answered for you. And the reason being is because, people are very interested in these topics still, and I get it. But it's like the topics that I see that are getting a lot of traffic are, looking for answers outside of ourselves. You know what I mean? And so and I do some of those topics myself. One, because of what I'm inspired to talk about that day, or something came across, my interest. But I think if we're going to stay in the light and we want to, and I've talked about this before if you've been on around the channel, but if we're going to keep our light as bright as possible, we want to try to stay in that space rather than the anticipatory like something that, it's like trusting that when it happens type of thing. That's just kind of where I'm at. But I get it. I mean, people want to, they want to keep hearing what are other psychics or something picking up now. What's the energy saying today? Because I get it. The energy is shifting constantly. So it's, and it's a form of entertainment, of course. So it's interesting, but making sure you're taking care of yourself and not not getting sucked into depression or anxiety because things aren't happening on your timeline. So that's, it's just really finding that balance, right? And commitment to yourself at this time, maybe on the solstice on the 21st, is a rebirth and commitment to yourself, to realigning from what 2024 was, and just like setting new intentions on how you might go about doing that. And one of them might be to not be necessarily looking for the changes and just expecting that one day, and you don't know you don't know which day, and you don't even care, that it will someday, you're just going to wake up and pleasantly have some really good news. That's what I'm doing. So maybe the solstice is a time to just refocus that, and just remembering that looking for answers within yourself. Okay, so let's see. Number 11. Will the entire world move out of darkness into light in this decade? They were already saying yes already before I even finished that. So very strong. That's cool. Number 12. Are our loved ones who are now beyond the veil, and if that's new to somebody, that would be like heaven. That's a term that's used in the spiritual community here on YouTube, is at least. I'm maybe further, but so our loved ones who are now beyond the veil have a hand in supporting us here to deal with our current situation? Yes. Because my guess is they have especially those loved ones. I mean, they're all ancestors of ours, right? And they have an interest in Earth. Am I correct? Oh, yeah. Yeah, see? I mean, they care about Earth immensely and what we're doing here. So, very cool. Great question. All great questions. Number 13. Is there something we light workers need to do more of to help the world counter the dark aspects of it? No. So what that means is, what that's telling me is we are doing those things. And okay, well, I will ask more specifically. And then somebody had asked this question, and then there was a follow-up. If yes, then what about these three things? And I will still ask those. Okay. Even though the answer was no. So since the answer is no, so there basically, are the light workers in paths those who are working to keep their vibration high? Is the work, not work, but are our efforts at doing that working to shine light on the dark parts of the world? So yes. Good. Is there anything else we could be doing to make it shine even brighter? No. So what we are currently doing is working. Yes. Okay. But I'm just going to ask these anyways. Is it our own self-work? Okay, so is it our own self-work that's making this happen? Okay. So one of the messages I keep reiterating on this channel And because it either comes up on questions or it's just intuitively feels right to me, and I've heard it, other spiritual folks talk about it as well, is how important self-care is. Okay? You're not going to find the answers outside of yourself. Things happening outside of yourself can't make you happy or sad. You get to do that. Okay? So self-care. Now, I just heard somebody talking about this. I'll have to think of what the channel is, but I'm not sure I'll remember. But just, I mean, it's probably, it's not the only channel I've heard people talking about this, is that January, there is a chance that January, if things shift, especially with the US election, if they shift, that January could be pretty tumultuous, pretty uneven, let's just say. Okay? And that it's really important right now for all of us to get as grounded and taking care of ourselves, sleep, eating as healthy as possible, which is, right out the door for me right now. But, and so just doing, and that's self-care, whatever your self-care is. Okay. Maybe even having, well, it's probably too late now. You probably already have your plans for next week, but, calming your plans down so you're not, you know what I mean? And feeling totally stressed afterwards. So just to prepare for whatever kind of energy shifts might be happening in January. And whatever happens, I'm going to be sitting right here. And I'm going to be probably going live if something really amazing happens. So we will just watch it unfold together. And if it doesn't, we'll still be here watching the world unfold together because we're going to trust the universe, the timing of the universe. It's not our timing. Okay, yeah, they're saying yes. It's not our timing. That's why it is our own self-worth, our self-work that we're doing. So is it our self-work, more meditation or sage waving or smudging that we need to do? Okay, so they're saying no on the so more meditation. Would you say more meditation? Okay, so they're not saying you don't necessarily have to do more. Are you saying we need to do more like sage waving, smudging, meditation? No, but you are saying we need to take care of ourselves, whatever that means for each individual, maybe? Okay, so wide swing, yes. Is that something that we need to do? And is there something we need to do in the form of public education right now to bring more light to the world? Nope. So it's not outside of ourselves, the folks who are listening to this. But you're probably thinking like, well, how do we bring more people in? I really think those people, okay, if you trust that when a video comes across your feed, especially if it's a new person or something, and all of a sudden you like click with them and you're like, that wasn't a coincidence. Like that's a message I needed to hear today or something like that. Or if you believe in synchronicity, you have to trust that for other people as well. All right. If you are called to, if you wake up one day and you're so excited and you're like, I want to do a group meditation. I want to plan that. Do it because you're being called to do that because it's in your heart to do it, right? But if only 5 people show up because that's who got exposed to it, then that's beautiful. Then those 5 people needed that, right? We have to allow the universe to put things, the synchronicity to work for each individual person the way it works for each individual person, rather than trying to control the message, or control the timing of it or something like that. That's why I'm not, like, for me, I am very, very relaxed about my videos. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That one went, further than this one. And it's more because you want to, you hope to reach people, and it's fun. The more people in the community, the more people talking about stuff. But I'm very, very relaxed about whoever sees this. It's amazing, whether it's 5 people or 50 500,000 people. But I'm trusting that the universe is doing with it what it needs to. Whatever the message is, if it needs to reach that many people, then universe will guide us to help it do that. Do you know what I mean? So it's no different than any other kind of things. So, okay. And the last is, do we need to advertise group meditation to public groups to spread our light more? No. And look at how wide. Look at how wide. Okay. So my instinct just now, or my intuition just now, said to me that if we think we need to spread our light more, then something feels controlling about that to me. I'm trying to articulate what that is in my sort of sleepy brain. So do we need to, and it's not that this person who asked this question is trying to do that at all. That's not what I'm implying. Because best intentions, you know. So do we need to advertise group meditation to public groups to spread our light more? Okay. So if you, like I said before, if you are called to do that, then whoever is called to do that wouldn't ask the question, right? They would just be like, you know what? I just feel like this is something I would love to do, and whoever shows up would be amazing, right? So if it's in your heart to do it, and that's how I follow what I'm talking about on the channel, it's kind of like whatever comes into my awareness, and I'm like, and I get excited about it, then I know that's the right thing to be talking about. So this would be kind of the same thing. If it lights you up, the idea of that, because I've had a couple of people approach me asking if I would use the channel to bring together a prayer group or a meditation group. And I love the idea. It's just not in my heart to do it. It's not, so it doesn't feel like my calling to do it. It doesn't feel authentic to me. I love it for other people, but it's not authentic to me. Okay. If I were to do it while it's not authentic, then I feel like I'm doing something that might even get in the way of however God, the spirit world, the universe has to work itself out. Okay. So by saying, should we do this to spread our light? I think you do whatever works for you to beam your light as high as possible, to stay as positive as possible, and let that be enough. Let that be enough to beam out to the people around you, and hopefully they'll, and let the universe help it however it needs to do it. I don't mean to belabor this, but it's just about helping people right now, letting go of some of the control you feel like you need to have. And when you don't have it, it develops into anxiety and depression and hopelessness, and then when that happens, whose light is shining at that point? Nobody's. You know what I mean? So, so just, I think it's so much easier just to focus on yourself, and I know people think that sounds selfish, but, okay. So are you saying yes because people think it sounds selfish? Okay. Are you saying yes because it's more important that people just focus on themselves? Yes. And I think that's what it is about that question is it's like, no. Keep focusing on yourself, not on how you can increase other people's light. You know what I mean? Unless, again, it is called to you. If it's your calling, then you absolutely, if it's in your heart to do it. Okay, I hope I didn't belabor that too much. Number 14, this is the last question, and it does have a little story behind it. So I'm going to read the question first and then the backstory, and then we'll come back to the question again. So the question is her destiny, which is, when we say her, we're talking about a ship actually, okay? So is her destiny representing the United States of America's transformation into rebirth and new life? Okay. So there's this SS United States. It's a flagship called the SS United States Americas. So this is what the backstory, somebody put this in here. The SS United States America, oh, I get it, sorry. The SS United States, America's once proud flagship, is being towed to the Gulf of Mexico to be sunk and create the world's largest artificial reef. How cool is that? The mighty ocean liner has sat idle, gutted, and rusting away for 30 years, symbolic of the nation itself. Okay, so it is called the SS United States. That's interesting. Thank you for whoever posed this question. So the SS United States has been sitting idle, gutted, and rusting away for 30 years. So one, let's ask, is the fact that the SS United States, the flagship, America's once proud flagship, is that ocean liner, the fact that it's been sitting idle and gutted and rusting away for 30 years, is that symbolic of what's been happening in the United States? Okay, so the answer is yes to that. So with that is her destiny. So by taking this ship, the ocean liner, by taking it and creating something beautiful out of it, basically making it the world's largest artificial reef, is it the ship's destiny then to represent the United States of America's transformation into rebirth and new life? Oh, cool. Okay, and so is that meant to be symbolic for the United States? Very cool. Is this something that will be well known among? No. Okay. Interesting. Great question. Okay, well, that is all I have. Oh, that didn't turn out oh, yeah. So this was, I actually broke this. I was going to say, oh, that wasn't too bad. The whole episode, 26 minutes. But I actually broke it down into 2 videos, so I had to put them together. So it was a little bit longer from what I read in the beginning. So anyways, if you have any questions, anything else about the winter solstice, I should have said this in the beginning because people are probably skedaddled at this point, but I would love to hear what you might do if you were inspired at all from this video to do something tomorrow on the 21st of December, or whenever you hear this. You know, the rebirth, just because if you don't do it on the 21st doesn't mean that you're not in a state of renewal. Because even through the month of January and February, we're still coming out of the darkness, okay? And you're still in that opportunity for renewal. So whenever you're hearing this, what might you do do you have any ideas of what you might do that you could share in the comments that other people might go, oh, that's a really good idea. And it can be super simple. People love simple ideas. I love simple ideas, something that's not going to take too long. What are maybe one question you might journal on tomorrow or whenever? Any little activities you do to invite in the renewal and the celebration of the sun's rebirth and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool. So, all right. Well, thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Maybe you'll join me for coffee with Karen tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.